Speaking of local stories, I love to take a look at people in our community and we learn through them things that may impact your life. And what a great story. My friend Phil Ross, who also happens to be a member of the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission, retired, still very involved in his community, a great guy, ham radio operator, good friend. He joins us now. And Phil, good to have you with us. Thank you for joining us here on the Splash Live today.
Great to be here, Dave. How are you?
Well, good. So I remember the day you called. It was several years ago, and you called and said, hey, Dave, I'm really facing a serious challenge now. I'm going to need a kidney transplant, and this isn't an easy thing to make happen. Quickly, just take us through your story. We have some other things we want to talk about here as it relates to kidneys and transplants for older people, but just provide people a little bit of background about your story and your path.
Yeah, sure. Well, as an adult, I always had some kind of a kidney issue. They weren't sure what it was, but it was not life-threatening or anything for a long, long period of time. In 2020, though, I was diagnosed with end-stage kidney failure, which means that your kidneys are due to fail at any time, and you're gonna have to start dialysis, which is I don't know if anybody knows about that. It's a life-saving method, but it is not pleasurable at all, and it's basically a Band-Aid for a serious problem. So when they told me that, I leapt into action. I did all the research I could possibly find on the subject, joined support groups. I then started a social media campaign to find a living donor, because I heard that that's always the best, because if you're waiting for somebody to donate who's deceased, it can take anywhere from 5 to 10 or even more years, depending on where you are.
So can I interrupt for just a second? So
Sure.
Just to clarify, that's quite a thing that you were looking for. You wanted someone who's alive that said, hey, I'm going to give up a kidney to Phil. And you know, that's quite a contribution that somebody would make to somebody else. But obviously, it moves the process along, and the clock was ticking for you.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, I hadn't thought about it too much, but find that kind of a person who's willing to donate part of their body to you is amazing. And you know, I was shocked to find out that there are people who are really willing to do this thing. But we started a social media campaign. It went out over Facebook, YouTube, you know, pretty much everywhere. And there were some discouraging moments. It took quite a while. But as everybody kept telling me, it only takes that one special person. And sure enough, somebody in Cleveland who saw it felt motivated by my story and decided to donate. But the issue was he was not a match for me. But it was through the Cleveland Clinic, and they have a great program for matching people in what they call paired exchanges. So he may not be a match for me, but there might be somebody else who is, and there's somebody else who needs his type of kidney. So they managed to put together a 6-person chain there. I was the missing piece, basically. They needed to fill in the 6-person chain. So that happened in May of 2021. And basically, and there's, I sent a photo of a reunion we just had 2 years out.
Let's take a look at it. Jared, can you put that picture up? And there you go. So tell us who's in the picture, Phil.
Yeah, so obviously I'm there on the top left. My wife, Debbie, is below me, who was great support during all this. The person next to me, the tall gentleman there, he's the one who started the chain. He's like a 25-year-old with 2 young kids, and he donated altruistically. You know, basically not looking for anything in return. He wanted to help somebody, which is, that kind of thing blew my mind. I just couldn't believe somebody could do that. And then the person in the middle, in the front, is the doctor who put it all together. The lady next to him is the kid who I received the kidney from. She's like 35 years old at the time, and she just had a new baby, which is right there, which is a great blessing. And her husband is behind her, and which the other gentleman who donated, his name is Kevin, went to Nick, who's the husband. And next to him is Michael Unger, who is the one who donated in my name. He's the one who saw the Facebook post. He called the Cleveland Clinic. He went through all the testing, never thought he'd make it through. He made it through, and it completed the chain. And these people are wonderful. I cannot express how much they mean to me.
Well, and it's a great story of humanity, a great story of community, and you know, you just see all these bad stories out there. You hear all of them and see them on the news, and sometimes it's hard to watch the news, and then we hear a story like this, and it warms your heart about humanity, Phil. It's an awesome story. What I really like is this chain of 6 people. So you couldn't get the one kidney, but that went somewhere else, and that opened up another one. And it sounded
Right.
like it sounded like you must have needed the general manager of the Detroit Lions to put together a trade with all those different pieces, but with a much more important result. So congratulations. So we only have a little bit more time today. We can continue this conversation on another day. But you were talking to me the other day, and you said, Dave, it's really difficult for people that are over 70 to find a transplant and to find a kidney.
Yes, that is correct. Now, I just turned 70, so this all happened when I was 68, basically, but still, it's getting up there. And a lot of hospitals will not help people who are 70 or older because it messes up their success rates, because there's a larger probability of failure with older people, and they don't want to put older kidneys into younger people. They have a scale that kind of balances who gets what kind of kidney. So younger donor goes to a younger recipient. So it's been a real problem for the elderly. And when we were at that dinner, the doctor there, who's the head of the transplant program, told us, he says, I want you to pass the word that at the Cleveland Clinic, if you're 70 or older, we can get you a new kidney in a month. Now, that is unheard of.
Well, and you've done a great. You came to me and said, Dave, we got to get on TV and share this word. And so that's what we're doing now. So if you're over 70, and this is no knock on our local hospitals. We love our local hospitals. They do a great job saving lives every day. But this is something they're really good at in the Cleveland Clinic, taking care of people over 70 years old who need a kidney, and they can work people through the transplant program. And you just wanted to get on TV and let everybody know that you could reach that story and share your story with them, hopefully to motivate people to get the care they need.
Yes, the Cleveland Clinic is very progressive in many ways. So let's see, I think, are we frozen?
No, there is a little problem, but we're just going to keep going here, and we're going to finish your story out. It will give us a little bit more time than we thought. Can you hear me or not?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, okay, so like I said, they're very progressive. They're the first in the country who did hepatitis C kidneys, people with hepatitis C. They were the first. I had a robotic surgery. I'm only the 10th person in the world to receive a kidney robotically. So they're very progressive with that, and they're very progressive with this issue about the elderly. And I cannot express enough. And I have a phone number and a contact person I'd like to share, if it's okay.
Sure, go ahead. Tell people the information, and we'll put it on the screen and make it available later. But feel free to share that information right now.
So it's the Cleveland Clinic Kidney Transplant Program. Their phone number is 216-444-6996. And the doctor in charge of that is Dr. Alvin Wee, W-E-E. So if you're in need of a kidney, or you know anybody who is, contact them. I cannot tell you how great of a facility that is.
All right, Phil. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us today. How you feeling? How you doing?
I feel like I've been reborn. I mean, it's amazing. I had all kinds of issues, and it's amazing how people would come up to me now and say, "Wow, you look so much better." And they said they never told me I looked bad in the first place. But yeah, I mean, it was it's amazing. I cannot say enough about how just the technology and the people and the support I got. It's absolutely phenomenal.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us today. Good to have you with us. I really appreciate you taking time to share that. And I think it helps everyone right here in our community hear this story of success, somebody who was really staring it right down and was able to pull all the resources together, get the care that you need. And I'm sure, you know, not everybody has this great opportunity like Phil does, to not have to have dialysis for the rest of their life and be able to get a transplant. You know, I've got plenty of friends that weren't able to have the benefit of these programs that you did, Phil. So it's good to hear the good story. Thank you very much for sharing it and letting everyone in the community know if they're having a problem and they need some care, especially on the kidney side, that folks down in the Cleveland Clinic did a really good job for you, and they're eager to help other people. So, Phil Ross, thank you for your time today. Good to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me on.